And we're live. Hi, I'm Aaron Justin Bryan from Table Knights Entertainment. With me is the always lovely and ever-present Giovanni Perez Baroto and Douglas MC Conrado.
I love turkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds just about right.
All right, this is Talk 20 to Me, and today we'll be discussing DM powers and the balance of the Force. Okay. So, here's the basic concept of tonight's discussion. There are a lot of dungeon masters out there. There are a lot of really good dungeon masters out there, and every dungeon master, admittedly, has their weaknesses. I my own. Improvisation is not my strong suit. However, there are dungeon masters who are far too liberal in their use of their powers, and then there are dungeon masters who are far too conservative in the use of their powers. Both end up being a terrible experience usually, depending on who's doing what. It can be worse one way or the other, but it usually doesn't end up feeling good for the player. Giovanni, you have a lot to say on the subject.
Yes, I do.
I would like you to start with the conservative side of this argument.
The people who don't use too much power,
The people
or don't
who-
use
yeah,
any power,
The
period.
people who don't use their power as dungeon master.
Okay, so, of course, like everything I talk about comes with a freaking story, because I like to hear myself. But, long story short, I had a DM not too long ago that he basically allowed anyone and everyone to step over him. And he was doing one of his own homebrew campaigns. He was even trying a whole homebrew system. Homebrew meaning that you make it up yourself. And it was the game, aside from it being incredibly imbalanced as being a bad system, but he would just let anyone and everyone step over him to the point where the game didn't become fun because this player, she took over the entire group. And what I mean by she took over the entire group is not that she became too bossy, is that she basically, whenever she didn't have her way, she complained until she got her way. And it's not that she got bossy towards other players, it was just strictly the DM because she knew she could take advantage of the DM. And it got to the point where it just wasn't fun. For example, my character sacrificed himself for the group. And when I died, they said that I was going to be resurrected. It's just the players had to go into hell, essentially, and pull me out. And they decided that they didn't want to do that, which was funny because the DM continuously gave them various times in which they could go into hell, and at any time just be like, oh look, Gio's there, let's pick him up. And they chose not to do that. And it got to the point where I was just there. This is the third time me showing up to game. Mind you, I was showing up to play the game, and I wasn't playing. And I was just like, one of you guys are going to come pick me up because you've gone to hell 3 times now. That is 3 times you're going to come pick me up. And it's not fair that I freaking sacrificed myself for this group, and you guys keep on going because they're basically just power tripping. And then she blew up, and she was like, oh, stop whining like a baby. We do whatever the heck we want, blah, blah, blah. Which, that's fine, because ignorant people are just going to be ignorant. I wouldn't call her a hypocrite if it weren't for the fact that when she started the game, she literally cried for 3 days straight because she had to create a new character, and she really liked her old character. And she kept on complaining and complaining and complaining. And he's like, okay, you got to use your character, but you have to start off brand new because everyone else is starting brand new. No, she couldn't have that. She kept on complaining and complaining and complaining until he let her have all her powers, all her abilities, and all her weapons from the last campaign. So we're all starting off at level 1, and she was level 1, but she had the abilities of people who were like at level 10. And she had weapons that were just beyond necessary. And there were several moments where we were just like, put your foot down. You need to put your foot down because this is literally becoming her game, not yours, which is sad because this is your baby.
Mind you, I played in a session of this, and my character arguably wasn't, important because I was just there for one session.
Yeah.
But he had no prep, or if he did, it was terrible. He could not adapt to situations. Combat was drawn out and uninteresting. It was basically just hitting.
Because literally, the second anyone put any kind of argument, but wait, but this, but that, he'll just bend. He would not fight it whatsoever.
To be a DM, you got to be like a tree.
Yeah.
You can your branches can bend, but you are strong. In the center, that's a weird metaphor, I guess, but
You must be strong like pillar, fierce like dragon.
And Douglas, can you bring up a point? By the way, just so you all know, I may not say anything in terms of anything constructive
Experience.
for this. Yeah, 'cause unlike these guys, I apparently haven't had a bad DM. Although I've been DMing most of my gaming life, so.
Yeah, so he's had experience. I for one, I am, I'm still somewhat of a child when it comes to DMing. There are times where I just won't have anything planned because we'll go through it so quickly that we're just to a point where I'm like, shit, I need to think of something. Hold up, guys, I have to roll for an encounter, and then as I'm rolling, I'm thinking of like, okay, what the fuck should I put these guys through? Hey, you get a spirit of your father. What? He's still alive. He died. How? Glaucoma.
Glaucoma.
That's not a really heroic way to go, I would think.
Is it even possible to die from glaucoma?
Yeah. I guess
I don't see how there's abuse or anything.
for me,
I don't generally tend to abuse because I'm good at adapting on the fly.
there have been times where you refused to do something though because you didn't know what to do, and in those cases, you should be flexible enough to listen to your players and reciprocate to them. If something sounds ludicrous, don't do it. But if it sounds like it's a good idea and you trust yourself to trust in that idea, you can let it happen. You shouldn't be a rock, because nobody likes rocks. They're just except for geologists, I guess. Sorry, geologists.
I know Steven Universe is a great show. I kind of like rocks.
All those Steven U fans.
My point being, you got to be able to give a little, I guess. I guess the worst thing I've ever experienced as a player with a dungeon master is when I had that guy that you were talking about earlier as a dungeon master, and also this one rule that my father always had in Dungeon magic users couldn't roll their own magic damage. And his logic was that you couldn't feel the damage that a magic spell produced like a fighter could feel their sword. But my rebuttal to that is you can feel the flow of energy going through you. That's what magic is. It's a transference of energy. So you should be able to roll.
Look at the Kamehameha.
But that's like minuscule compared to what you've been through. Is there anything else you want to add, Douglas?
Well, I will say I am a very hard-headed DM. There are more than times that I can count where I will just say no to a circumstance just because it just seems so stupid and so asinine that I'm like, no, just stop while you're ahead.
I understand. If it's stupid and asinine, I would agree, say no to it.
I mean, at the same time, you can't... The beauty of D&D is the ability to do whatever you want.
Say no, but... And instead of doing exactly what they wanted, which may have been asinine, do something similar that isn't asinine. Unless it's just absolutely retarded.
Or you could just say no, yeah.
Yeah. Are we going into the heavy topic next?
We could do people who abuse their power.
let's do the broad topic of abusing their power
like
first,
my
and then
issue,
we'll go
and then
into
we
the
go
heavy.
into the deep thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're talking here on the side for is because I'm the one with the most stories. Because I guess I'm the one who's actually had the most playing with different DMs.
Yeah, you have.
And
Yeah, you're special.
basically, I went to this party and played with a group. Some people from our group, but our DM was this female, and she was a friend. I use the term loosely. Friend that I had for a long time, and she was the DM, and we got her into D&D, and when we got her into it, she fell in love with it. She bought like all the books. She bought like $100 worth of miniatures and play mats and everything. She went all out before she even played the game, period. And so we finally started to do her campaign, and she started to railroad us, which railroading means when the DM takes control of a situation and they don't let you go off track. It's like if they want something to happen and they don't allow any other variable.
Hey guys, I'm not saying we're being railroaded, but that tower's popped up at least 7 times.
And no, but the thing is, there's a difference between suggesting a railroad and there's railroading.
Yeah,
because if you're just like, hey, there's a tower over there, then it's like, okay, well, I could still go around the world, but maybe we should go to that tower. But then they're straight up, hey, there's a tower there. Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go the other way. You feel your feet walking towards the tower. Oh no, am I under some kind of spell? I don't know, just walking towards the tower. Okay, well, I tried to leave. You knock on the door of the tower. I'm trying to leave. Oh well. So
you're now inside the tower.
That's a very extreme example, but
the thing is, unfortunately, she's had something similar to that. Because what it is that she fantasizes a lot. She's one of those girls that they like to watch porn, especially guy-on-guy porn, essentially. And so basically, what happened was that like 3 of the guys in the room are heterosexual. I myself am bisexual. So she started playing as that are very awkward because literally every NPC that came up that was male was homosexual, and every single NPC that was female wanted us to do something homosexual with another male.
Her world was unrealistic in the way that there could not have been reproduction.
And let me tell you, that's not even the only issue. She wanted her to have a character that was a trickster, but it's not because they're a trickster god. She just wanted them to be a nuisance. And she gave them like a dexterity of like 40 at level 1. Which is it was physically impossible to touch this character, and the reason why she did that is because she wanted this character to be as annoying as possible, and it wasn't to further the plot. It wasn't because this was a key character. Is that this character was a character in her own fantasy that she wanted to live out. She just wanted to live out with other people.
See, and here's the thing: if that's what you want, be a player.
Be a player or play with yourself.
That too, but.
But Table Knights approves of playing with yourself.
Also, not just to put this out there for any listeners who are going to school, Pornhub has a scholarship for $25,000.
Anyways, if you want to do that, please be a player, because that's what that is about. A player lives out their fantasy, or hopefully they do. And a DM
creates
the world and allows the players to live out their fantasy.
Exactly. Well, not saying that we can't completely indulge ourselves in the world. For example, in the campaign that I host, although all of it is pretty much the same, the only one of the major differences is in my world, flogging is considered the most common form of punishment. It's just anytime you do a punishment,
fetish.
So we talk about bringing your dreams to life, and the first thing you bring up is
is there something else, Doug?
No. It's look. I'm glad that like at least most of the party doesn't do anything bad, or at least hasn't gotten caught doing anything bad.
Because the most very detailed account for what happens to your butt if you did something bad.
Well, not necessarily they get flogged in the ass. I mean, they just get a beating with Just so happens to be a whip, you know?
All right, so
Just the correlation.
all joking aside, there's actually a pretty dark side to DMs as well. This is a disclaimer for anybody who is uncomfortable with the subject of rape, molestation, or anything like that. If you don't want to hear about it, then you should probably leave. This is an adult channel, though, and we feel comfortable discussing this. The reason that we're putting it up, though, is because we understand people can be uncomfortable about it.
Of course. And not to mention, as we're saying, this is a huge trigger for anyone who has experienced it or has, bad memories of it. If you want us to keep on staying, that is fine, but this is to your own discretion. What we'll be talking about for the next 10 minutes or so is how sometimes something so fun can end up being so bad and could even traumatize you.
Yeah, and we're not saying that role-playing game rape is anything close to the actual thing, but it can feel violating.
It could lead to that.
Yeah, it can feel violating. Go ahead, Gio.
So sorry. I just broke something of his. I'm so sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So basically, this is actually not a story for me. I'll fix it. I have to put it in my bag. This is not a story from me. This actually happened to a close friend of mine, and it's not one of those things that it's not me. It's a friend. No, it was an actual friend of mine. So
it is.
a group of friends were playing D&D, and his character ended up being molested. And nor was this warned about, nor was this talked about prior, nor was it ever established that this is something that the group was comfortable with. The character was being molested, and he tried to escape from it. And he was railroaded into being raped. Completely railroaded. Like, he tried to roll about, no matter what he rolled, he even rolled really good. He was like, no, it's happening. You're being raped. And my friend, he was pissed, and he did not have fun, and it was mostly not enjoyable. And yeah, after a week, he kind of calmed down, but the way he talked about it was still very prevalent that he was deeply offended by this, and it literally got to the severity where he felt like he was essentially defiled. Because this is something that, if you think about it, it's something of your imagination. It's as pure as it could get. It's something of your imagination being defiled against your will.
It's mental violation.
It is mental violation. It's practically mental rape. And that's essentially what happened to him. His character was raped, and it was not fun, and no one enjoyed it. Everyone else in the group agreed with him that was extremely unnecessary, and it was a very dark moment.
All that being said, if you talk to your players before a game and you discuss these topics with them and you say, are you comfortable with this being present in the world? Because I don't think anybody is really comfortable with their character being raped.
Yeah.
I mean, they can say that that's part of their backstory and that makes them, but I don't think in-game anybody's cool with that.
It's like, oh, geez, can't wait.
But if you talk to them and...
I want to get raped!
Are you comfortable with this happening in the world? Like, in real life? That happens, because you can have a campaign reflect real life. Like, my campaign is very dark, and bad things happen to people.
Cannibalism.
Yeah,
in-group cannibalism.
Yeah, and that was now while they didn't know that was happening, I didn't literally shove it down their throats.
Yeah, it was subtle cannibalism.
Yes, like there's a line you can cross.
Yeah, but what we're essentially saying is that as a DM, all the power to you. But at the same time, if you're going somewhere dark,
you need to talk to your
group players. Yeah, and mind you, no one's an idiot. We know what we're getting to. We're playing a game that is, it does have violence. Violence is in this world. But at the same exact time, there are some things that people aren't desensitized to yet, or there's some things that they just inwardly feel is horrid and shouldn't even be brought up in games. Period.
Yeah, because the point of a game is to have fun first and foremost. So if it makes you uncomfortable, please talk to your dungeon master about it. If your dungeon master isn't taking the reins, talk to them about it. If your dungeon master is being abusive and taking their power too literally, talk to them about it. Because the worst thing that can happen is they say, get out of my group. And to be honest, if they are doing these things and they're unwilling to change, you probably should be with them anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That being said, we covered some good topics tonight, and I really appreciate the maturity that it was handled with.
Well, I just wanted to add.
Go ahead. Sorry, Doug.
Yeah, because we still have quite a bit.
Oh.
Yeah, we still have time. A lot of time. What I wanted to say was, for those of you who are like, but how does it even affect? Like, it doesn't make sense. It just happened to your character. It didn't happen to you. Well, yes, but you have to keep in mind, everyone makes a character that is based on part of them. Not only that, we all have spent at least, you can ask anyone who's ever played D&D, they'll tell you that they have spent a good amount of time on that character, writing up that backstory, like describing the appearance of that character, and then playing that character, session in and session out, week after week. You slowly become, a part of that character. And it's something that, you become familiar with and you become it. I know for a fact that my character Ulfgafar that I've loved, I'll play him to the point where I feel like I am Ulfgafar. So if anything happens to him, I feel it. As if, if I'm fighting with another character that's Ulfgafar's friend, I'll feel like I'm fighting with my best friend. It just goes into that deepness of your soul is in that character. So that's why our friend felt, the way he did, because he made that character and then this happened to his character. So he felt like he himself was in that position.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Every character I've ever made has something to do with my life, and if I ever felt my character being violated, I would
not like it.
I would not sit there and let it happen. I would bitch out that DM right there, like, because I know what a good DM is supposed to be like. As as arrogant as it may sound, I'm a good DM. I've based my model off of previous good DMs, and I have a certain etiquette that has to be followed. And it's just something else I have to learn with time, I guess. Although
yeah, but I mean there is a common etiquette. Like
there is.
It's like, I'm sorry, if you're playing a game with a person and they open up the book straight away to rape, which is exactly what happened in that group.
Oh well,
then
yeah, no.
No. You need to step up and say something immediately, because then it's gonna happen like what happened to that group. They just slowly drifted away because no one was really having fun.
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, I'm glad that we touched on these topics. We handled them maturely. A lot of other people probably wouldn't have been so candid about it. And I feel like people who do watch this, I feel like they actually learn something. Like we don't talk out of our asses.
Yeah, I mean, here's the beauty about this. There's an echo.
What?
No, I thought I heard an echo. So, because not only are we applying this to games, again, we're also applying this to life.
Yeah.
If you feel uncomfortable with somebody, you should tell them.
Don't be a dick. Don't let people walk all over you. And don't rape anybody.
And don't rape. Don't rape. That's the main tagline there. Don't rape.
You
should not do that.
What were we gonna do for next week's discussion?
I don't know. You're the ones with the list.
No. We talked about it earlier today. Or yesterday.
We did. It was yesterday.
Oh man.
Crap!
It was a good one too.
Balance. You G.M.s. Because remember we were talking about that group that I played with at the Rock.
Oh.
Balance.
Yeah. Let's talk. Douglas.
Party size.
Well, that's part of balance, actually.
Yeah.
So next week topic.
Party size and balance.
Let's talk about balancing the campaign.
Is
All right.
your party too big? Are they going through it too easy? Or is your party too small and can't even get past just 3 goblins?
Find out next week on Talk 20 to Me.
When big is
Exactly.
All right. I'm Aaron.
No, but if you seriously can't pass 3 goblins,
That's sad.
that is an issue you must discuss with your DM.
You're a level 1 magic user with no protection.
Nothing.
I'm Aaron Joseph Bryan from Table Knights Entertainment. With me has been Giovanni Perez Baroto, also from Table Knights Entertainment, and Douglas MC Conrado.
Always a pleasure.
Lovely evening.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Also share it with any of your fellow friends who like D&D or anything of that sort. Remember, we don't just do D&D. We also do some gaming channels here and there, and we do other board games, other analog games. That's the word I'm looking for.
Analog.
So, analog. Yes, that's the proper term for it.
That's cute. I like that.
That's the word for it.
No. I never thought of it like that. That's right, but
No.
I just never thought of it like that. All right. Well, this has been Talk 20 with me. Roll on.
Roll that 20, bitch.